Montreal Canadiens are hemorrhaging goals, giving up a combined 14 in the last 2 games as they mark back-to-back losses, falling 6-3 to the Washington Capitals last night. Well, here to give us a bit of a diagnosis, hopefully a cure to this, if you can find one, is our global news hockey expert, Brian Wilde. Brian, we got a problem, and it's in the back of the net.
Usually when I play doctor on television with the Montreal Canadiens, it's about injuries.
Yes, you're right.
I'm pretty good at that.
Well, we have a problem.
But playing doctor about how to improve the team, that's a lot harder. But I will say this to the fans that are really dejected. When you do a rebuild, it's not linear. You don't just go like this, you know, at a slow pace and it all feels. It goes like this. It's a stock chart.
I was going to say, it's like my stock chart.
Yeah. So they're going through a down. But it's sad because it is a regression. Like defensively, this team is going through a regression off of last year.
Right.
And the goalies are definitely going through a regression. Primo's 860, which is real bad. And 890 is where Montembeault is, and that's bad too. But it's the defensemen too, because when you look at it, when you look at goals against and they're 31st, then the next thing you do is, well, where's shots against? Is it mid-tier? Because then you can say there's some hope there. But the shots against is actually 28th too. So that's also bad. So, I mean, they've got to figure things out defensively. And it will be challenging, and it will take some time.
Well, I mean, I sort of want to get the milk cart now when it comes to scoring for that second line, in a sense. They've sort of been missing in action this whole time.
Well, you know, and I called that the linchpin for the season, this second line, because last year it was the second worst in the entire league, ahead of only San Jose. And this season there was so much optimism. Kirby Dach, who's a really strong player, but had a major knee injury and is not the same player yet. Hopefully he will be. And then the Patrick Laine injury. And then I got to do a mea culpa on Alex Newhook. I thought he was the top 6 forward. He is not. He's got 2 points this season. And he just doesn't touch the puck enough. Like, this isn't short track speed skating, right? You don't just go up and down and try to win the gold for Canada.
That puck needs to be in the picture somewhere.
The puck's got to be in the picture. You are absolutely right. There's a stick and there's a puck, and you got to try to go get that. And that's what makes you a good hockey player. So him skating as well as he does, he's an amazing, beautiful skater. But without the puck, that's a different sport.
Right. Well, someone who is doing well with the puck, and sometimes maybe not seen and getting that recognition, of course, is Cole Caulfield. I mean, he's scoring goals, and that is quite impressive historically, really.
Yeah, and you know what? I love that you've said that, because, I mean, at the end of the day, a rebuild isn't about how well your 3rd and 4th line are playing or your 5th and 6th defensemen are playing. At the end of the day, a rebuild is all about the talent that can make it to the next level and how many guys can be a part of your great team. Not how many can be a part of your team fighting for 16th in a playoff spot every year, but how many can be a part of that Stanley Cup contending team. And when you got a guy who's got 10 goals in 11 games, you say, yeah, that's a guy who can be a part of it. Nick Suzuki is a guy that can be a part of it. And then you add Lane Hutson this year, who's clearly a guy who can be a part of it. He's the, you know, one of the best defensemen on the team, if not the best already. Then you say, okay, if this is all about building blocks, pieces, players, then they're adding players. They added Lane Hutson. They've got a recovered Cole Caulfield. Nick Suzuki is consistently good all the time. Juraj Slafkovsky is close to a point a game. So it's all about assets that you feel can be a part of a top 6 and a top 4, and they've added a complete full one this year in Lane Hutson. So as much as the results and the defense and everything look bad, they're adding pieces. And it's weird because Kent seems to be just throwing volume at this, which is okay. You know, nobody thought there was more volume of 2 top 15 picks this year. With Calgary's, of course, they have. But that's the way it's going to look. And down the road, those 2 pieces, like Evan Damanov, who's just on fire in Russia, that is going to be a part of an improving team.
And part of that, well, is we haven't seen it yet, but Patrick Laine, he's still there.
Yeah, that's right. Who?
You know what I mean? Yeah, who exactly? Who? But
no, but it's a good point, because, like I said, the linchpin for the whole season was the second line that has basically, you know, no goals this year. When he comes back, maybe that ignites the second line in time with Dach getting better, but they have to figure out what's going on defensively.
That's the main.
That regression, you know, has to go back to at least last year. I mean, they were better last year.
In defense.
In defense, yeah. So this Dach chart, you know, they reported earnings and they weren't good.
They're definitely not in the black.
Right? So that part here has to find, you know, that curve again. And that's up to Martin St. Louis, who I love.
The honeymoon, is it over yet?
No, not to me. But I love that you've asked that again because, boy, people are really hard on him.
Yeah.
And I think to stop being hard on him, you have to lower your expectations because that when you hate a coach, when you decide it's time, it's because your personal expectations are we should be way better than this.
Well,
but those defensemen are all 20 years old.
Well, he's got a hard thing to manage, and he's still doing it, and we still have hope
I love
for the
him.
Montreal Canadiens.
I love him.
So do
No
I.
criticism from me.